Hey everyone, TiredEyeBags here. Today I'm going to give you 10 tips on help you through your adventures in Enshrouded. While you're watching this video, if you end up liking the tips or think of other tips, please make sure you go down and comment down below and let me know if you appreciate the tips, if there's anything that you didn't know, or if there's any tips that I forgot that you think are very, very helpful for beginners joining Enshrouded. Also, if you like the video, make sure you like the video. Hit the subscribe button and hit the little bell doohickey so you know when I post more videos. All right, let's get into it. All right, the first tip I can give you, so tip number 1 is don't worry about picking the perfect base placement right away. And what I mean by this is when you're starting out the game, one of the first missions you get is to place a flame altar. Flame altars is how you mark your base. It'll mark off an area that I think the beginning area is 40 by 40 by 40 on where you can build and do whatever you want to do inside your base. You can always deactivate that altar and pick a different spot if you decide that area was not good enough or you find a better area, but you also get multiple flame altars to put down. By the time you have a maxed out flame strength, you have 8 altars you can put down total. So you can have multiple bases in every area in the map, up to 8 bases total. Tip number 2 is the same thing as alongside the flame altars. Don't be afraid to use your flame altars as fast travel. What I mean by this is you can fast travel to any of your bases through the flame altars, or to any of the spires you unlock going throughout the map. If you find a location where you think you might want to travel back to later, even if you don't want to build a base there, go ahead and put a flame altar down. Like I said, you get plenty of flame altars throughout the game, so it doesn't hurt to have some areas of fast travel too for resources or whatever you want to do. One way I used it is when I was going through different areas, there's these hollowed halls, which are like dungeons. I placed a flame altar outside of it so I could teleport back to my base, repair everything, restock my health potions, restock my arrows, anything else I needed. It dropped off all the stuff I had in my backpack that I didn't need anymore or that I wanted to save up for crafting. And then I teleported back to the hollowed halls and go ahead and push through it. When it was all said and done, I came back out, deactivated the flame altar because I didn't need it there anymore, and then there we go. Tip number 3. The resources in the area of your base do not respawn. And what I mean by this is anywhere outside of your base's area, which like I said starts off as 40 by 40 by 40 and grows as you level your base up, anything outside of there will respawn with time, like trees, rocks, or everything. Chests will reset. You can unlock the chest several times and get different stuff each time. But anything inside your base's influence area will not respawn. So if you dig a hole mining for ore, that hole's going to stay there unless you fill it in with some tools. You cut down a tree, that tree's gone. You mine some rocks, those rocks are gone. Anything you do in your base will stay that way permanently unless you change it yourself. While we're talking about bases, it brings me to my next tip, which is, I believe, tip number 4, which is different building techniques you can do. The game is pretty good about giving you a lot of freedom with your base building, making your buildings as tall or as wide or whatever as you want them to be. Now, there are some presets, and this is something I didn't know right away. There are some presets that have windows already built into them, which you'll see those right away, so I did know that, like windows and doors. But what I didn't know is that if you have, say you have a solid wall there, if you want to punch out like a smaller hole, say you want a small window to look out, if you don't want a huge window or you want to make a bigger doorway or whatever, you can switch to a smaller block setting. Like there's like I think the smallest one's like 1 meter squared block. And you can click on, like right click will destroy things. You can click on the wall with that smaller block and it'll punch out just a hole the size of that block. So if you want to make a smaller window or a wider window or a bigger door, or you want to make your own size little door or make little slits to look out of, whatever you want to do, you can actually alter it in a lot of different ways, which I did not know that right away, and I learned that much later into playing the game. Tip number 5 is organizing your storage. So some of the cool, quick hotkeys in this game that are very nice quality of life choices is if you're in your backpack, you can push T to automatically sort your backpack. If you're looking at one of your storage chests on your base, you can hit T to still organize your backpack, and you can hit G, as in golf, to organize the chest. So it could also keep everything nice and pretty and clean. Another one of the really cool features is there is a key combination who I think mine's set to Alt-R. Can't remember if that's the default or not, but that's what mine's set to. If you hit Alt and R, everything will automatically shift over into the chest and fill in spots. So let's say I had 10 cloth already in the chest, and I had 2 more in my backpack. If I wanted to automatically stack those 2 cloth onto the 10 cloth, I just hit Alt R and it'll move those over automatically. And if I have a whole bunch of stuff in my backpack that goes in that same chest, instead of having to click and drag every single thing individually, I could just hit the hotkeys and boom, everything's stacked automatically for me. I gotta hit G to organize everything. It's great quality of life choices. And tip number 6 follows the same along the same lines as inventory management. Is as of right now, you can only destroy like armor and shields and every other item except for weapons. Weapons can be salvaged. And salvage gives you these special little tokens that you can use to upgrade other weapons later to unlock like special boosts, like maybe 10% damage to the undead creatures or +5 fire damage, stuff like that. You can use those things to power up other weapons in the future. So any chance you get that you have a weapon that you don't want anymore, salvage it, don't destroy it. But as for armor and everything else, you just have to destroy it. There's no salvaging for those at this point as I'm making this video. Tip number 7 is classes. So one thing you'll learn right away in the game is that there's a skill tree, and you'll see the different skill tree branches have names like warrior, berserker, barbarian, wizard, stuff like that. You can have the freedom to choose whatever path, like any path you want, any node you want, as long as you're connected to the previous one you bought. So you can hop around to different ones. You can have a warrior who's also good at spellcasting, but obviously it'll be kind of weaker compared to a full warrior or a full spellcaster. But you have that freedom to try out different builds that you want. And don't be afraid to try out. If you want to see what something's like, try it. Because you have the ability to easily respec your character at any time. You just go to a flame altar and there is a reset skill tree. It'll reset your entire skill tree and give you all the points back that you used, and you can have the freedom to rebuild your character however you want. I've used it many times to rebuild my ranger, to try out different things with my ranger class to see if this works better or that works better, or if I tried this, what happens. Tip number 8, try out alternate paths. One of the beauties of this game is there is multiple ways to get to different areas. Now, obviously, some ways will be much harder than others, and there's a designated kind of way they would like you to go. Like, it might be easier just to go down this path, fight some monsters, go through the shroud, and try to make it out the shroud in time. But I have found ways, because I was trying to avoid the shroud a lot of times when I was earlier on, to make sure that I didn't die to the shroud and lose all my stuff in my backpack out in the shroud somewhere. So I got my pickaxe, and I ended up digging a lot of holes like over hills and through mountains and stuff. You can also decide to put down a shrine and then build a bunch of stairs to go over top of something in that area, then use those stairs to get up. And you can always come back later and disassemble the shrine once you're done doing what you need to do. Tip number 9, map markers. I know this one seems kind of obvious. Some people would be like, well, duh. But I didn't really think about it at first when I was playing, because I was more concerned with just trying to get around. But if you happen to see different kinds of stuff that you might need later, don't be afraid to drop a map marker and label it. You can't type, I couldn't figure out a way to type in like salt here or whatever, but you can click on it and leave a different colored dot there with a different symbol. Like for my ore, I'd put down one that looks like crystals, and I put a different color depending on what ore it is. Like I have like a black one for iron ore, I had like a blue one for lapis, and different kinds of colored ones to mark different areas. So when I look at my map, I can say, okay, that's where iron's at. I need iron, I'm gonna go there real quick. And finally, tip number 10, relogging. Relogging can be used to help reset resources and reset like chests and stuff. So if you mine a whole area that has one thing you needed, like amber or iron or whatever, you can then relog, like log out of the game, log back in, and you'll be able to go back to that spot and it'll be completely reset. So you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait for a few cycles for it to reset on its own. You just go and log out, log back in. So there you have it. There is 10 tips that I found very helpful personally while playing the game. Some of them I found, most of them I found out by myself. A couple of them I found out thanks to other creators or other people who play the game and came into my streams and told me about them. So feel free to go down below in the comments if you know more tips and tricks to help me and other players of Enshrouded out. Put them down in the comments down below. If you have any more questions, if I didn't explain something well enough, also put a question down below and I'll try to answer it the best I can. Maybe I'll make a whole another video to explain it to you. But thank you so much for watching, and don't forget you can subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're not subscribed yet, and go ahead and go to twitch.tv/TiredEyeBags and follow me on Twitch, where I play stuff like Enshrouded and other survival games. So thank you guys so much for being here, and I'll see you next time.